Hello everyone, welcome back to the Unbreakable USID podcast. We have another Unbreakable girl with us today. Talia, introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming on here and joining us today. As Tony said, my name is Talia. I am a young personal trainer, nutrition coach, uni student.
She does it all.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Been a PT for a bit and a nutrition coach for a bit over 3 years now, which I've absolutely loved and had the opportunity to work with so many amazing people. And I am just about to finish my degree, majoring in nutrition and psychology.
Wow. So you mentioned you have experience as a nutrition coach. So tell me how you got into that and like how the experience has been for you.
So initially, I kind of started nutrition just to go hand in hand with training, but I really quickly realized just how interesting it was, especially with social media out there and how many misconceptions people have regarding food. You know, everyone has, it's one of those things that I guess everyone just has an opinion on, but not everything is necessarily right.
Yes, so much misinformation out there. Like it's so hard to know what like you should actually be doing and like how you should be eating, exercising. So
definitely. And you know, I had the opportunity to work with so many young women especially, and I found it really interesting how so many people came to the gym to work on how they looked, but there's all of these other benefits as well, and the role that nutrition plays in that. It's just amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So as you've been studying nutrition science and you have experience working as a nutrition coach, what do you know, what have you learned about how to eat to protect your bones and promote your bone health?
So I guess one of the things we see a lot coming into the gym is, as I said, girls coming in for body composition related goals. And a lot of the time there can be some other things going on, of course. But I find bone health especially really interesting because I guess it's like a double-sided coin. You can over-exercise and that can impact your bone health and other health markers, or you can also under-exercise and that can also impact. So
just as bad,
finding that sweet spot, which is what I find really interesting, especially since I think there's so much more research that still needs to be done in regards to, you know, eating for bone health. Of course, we know that you need to get all of your essential macro and micronutrients, and for the most part, just be eating a really well-balanced diet, consistently eating throughout the day, making sure you're at a healthy weight, sleeping enough, drinking enough water. But there's so much more to it.
Yeah, so many factors at play. It's not just all about like making sure you're eating these certain foods. It's about like having that balanced diet and lifestyle as well.
Definitely. And you know, over many years, like I think another very fascinating thing about bone health especially is that the literature kind of indicates that the best time to set yourself up to prolong your bone health for the rest of your life is actually, you know, between the ages of 20 to 25. So getting girls, young women into the gym at that age in particular is really important, and making sure you're eating the right way.
Yeah, definitely. And like I had never even heard that was such like a critical time to be making sure like your like bone density was like as high as it could be. And like many of us are approaching that age and we didn't even know that was like an important time period, which is part of why we wanted to make Unbreakable, like because this is like important information that I feel like not a lot of us have even like heard about before.
Definitely. And you know, with osteoporosis or poor bone health, or osteopenia affecting over 66% of Australians, men and women, over the age of 50. Imagine how many people could have mitigated that through like interventions if they had, you know, only started eating the right way and training the right way in their early 20s. And I think it's really sad to see that there's still not a lot of communication around that.
Okay. So Talia, you mentioned that you had a personal experience of actually losing your period, and you struggled a lot with like seeing different health professionals and like what you could be doing with your diet and lifestyle to get that back. Did you want to touch on that quickly?
Yeah, of course, I would be happy to. So when I started training, I guess like a lot of people, you know, getting really into the gym, I got quite lean, and I eventually lost my period. Also on the pill, so wasn't too sure what was the
What's
role
going on.
at the start. I thought it was great, like awesome, one less thing to look after every month. But then I, you know, made a big move, came to Sydney, and I started gaining some weight, and I thought, oh, you know, I could do with a bit of weight. It's been probably 6 months. I should probably try and get my period back. But I ended up gaining over 15 kilos and not getting my period back.
Yeah. What next?
What next? And, you know, I thought I was relatively healthy. So I naturally went to see my GP and she diagnosed me with PCOS. And I had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely
scary too.
Scary, especially, you know, not having much information and asking how can I fix this. You know, one of the big things with that is infertility, and that was a very big concern of mine.
Yeah.
But there was no clear road on how to fix it. It was pretty much like, we think you need to lose some weight.
Yeah.
But other than that,
they kind of also don't really worry about PCOS until you're trying to conceive. They're kind of like, oh, that's a problem for like another time. Like they don't really help young women that much. Like I think they put like a lot of people on the pill like as treatment.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to know how to navigate that and like what to do.
They do. And you know, I think it's pretty sad because that's, well, look, I'm not an expert in periods and PCOS, but as far as I'm aware, the longer you kind of go with that condition, the more, well, the greater chance you have of, you know,
being infertile.
Yeah. So, you know, after seeing a doctor wasn't too much help. My mum made me see a naturopath, which I had always been a little bit iffy about, especially as I like to pride myself on being very evidence-based.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, so anyway, I took the chance. And actually, I was shocked. I've never quite had an experience like that in my life.
How so?
Well, this naturopath, so, you know, this was a phone consult, somewhere really expensive, like she was meant to be a really good naturopath. She told me, quote, fruit was the devil's candy, no eating sugar, don't worry about medication. She got me to eat all of these different herbs. I think like she was recommending like 2 vitamin C tablets a day when I was sick, like 5, so well over the limit of what you should be taking. Also telling me to fast and to go into keto. And I thought, well, I guess my biggest thought was that, imagine if I had been struggling with an eating disorder or something
and she's
like
giving you that advice.
And she's giving me this advice. Like, I was very fortunate to have been quite educated and had a very good understanding from nutrition already, having done some study and working as a coach. But, you know, that really made me think, like, imagine all of this advice that's going out there to all of these people studying with all sorts of conditions that, you know, also might impact your bone health or your period. So really important things. And they're just not getting the right treatment for things that can be really actually mitigated through lifestyle.
For sure. So how did you go about actually like getting it back? Did you find just living a normal balanced lifestyle helped at all? Or like what kind of changes did you end up making that helped?
So I really did have to make some lifestyle changes. For one, I stopped, you know, I guess I was kind of going through my party phase as well. So that slowed down and I started really prioritizing getting 7-8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Also being a coach, I, you know, had coached a lot of people through weight loss. It was never something that I myself had struggled with, but I would say that was a very good experience for me to see the other side. So I managed to coach myself through losing 15 kilos, which was very, very hard. And, you know, PCOS as well, there's so much conflicting information about it. But one of the things, I guess, that's come up is you can be really ravenously hungry. And I definitely experienced that. So it was like a constant battle fighting to reduce, you know, portion sizes and things. But eventually I kind of got back to my healthy weight. And I got my period back. It's been a little over a year. I even went to get a scan done again, and no signs of really having PCOS. So
that's great. Yeah. So I think just like the key of just like everything in moderation, living balanced, like healthy lifestyle, getting enough sleep, like all of these things definitely make a big impact and can help you in like not just like your bone health, but so many other conditions you might be experiencing.
Definitely.
That can definitely help to like, mitigate, like you said, like,
And especially like with your menstrual cycle, it is such a key indicator for so many diseases, especially bone health. Like, you know, for any like ladies listening, make like if your period, or you're worried about your cycle, or it's not regular, or you haven't had one in a while, like I would very strongly advise going to see a medical professional.
Definitely. Yeah.
And just trying to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, it's definitely not something you want to ignore. We're actually going to do maybe a couple posts on how your menstrual cycle might impact your bone health and just everything to do with like menstrual health as well. So stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. I'd like to thank Talia for coming and sharing with us. I hope you've all learned something. But yeah, stay tuned with all of our posts and keep checking our stories for more information. But we'll see you next time.